Welcome to Center Court with the Lopes, presented by Talking Stick Resort. Barry Butel alongside the head coach for GCU men's basketball, Bryce Drew. And coach, you're off to a very impressive start, 11-5 overall, 2-1 in the Western Athletic Conference. Conference play getting underway. What are you feeling right now about the status of your team? I know you've been faced with some adversity as far as some injuries.
Definitely some adversity, but our team has responded really well. We played well on the road this last week, and we're excited to get back home and have a home game after two tough ones in Texas.
You mentioned the Texas road trip. It began at Sam Houston State, and what a big game that was. The team rallying back. You go into overtime and win it 72-68.
Well, we're really thankful how it turned out because there's a lot of back and forth and up and down, and we were down 7 at the 4-minute mark. We had lost 3 starters basically, in that second half. So we were playing with a freshman and 2 sophomores out there. And, it was remarkable. It's the best net win in school history, with Sam Houston having a net 27 and being a true road game. So really proud of our guys and especially our underclassmen who really stepped up.
You picked up a rare technical foul on this trip to Texas. A message perhaps to the team?
Well, they were talking bad about you, Barry.
I
don't let that go.
Stepping up.
Yeah, they're talking about you. We got to stop that right away.
Got my back. I appreciate it.
But I think our guys were fighting hard, and as a coach, you want to fight for your players, and part of my job is to let our players know that I have their backs and I'm there for them, and that was kind of an equation of all of that coming together.
Sure, there was a lot of emotion going on, and then a team that really had to rally in overtime. You traveled to Nacogdoches and Stephen F. Austin, and unfortunately the team comes up short, 73-68. What was the team? What was their approach going into that one? I'm sure there was a lot of tired players.
Yeah, valiant effort. Really proud of the effort. We came out first 15 minutes and led, for the first 15 minutes of the game. We went down, and then our guys found some extra energy inside. They were able to regain the lead in the second half, and unfortunately, just fell short at the end.
Ray Harrison again stepped up in that game, 19 points. Chance McMillan had 16. Baker came back after kind of getting injured there at Sam Houston State. He contributed as well.
Yeah, I thought Chance McMillan was really good. I'm glad you brought up his name. He got to step in and start for, Javon being out, and really had one of his better games of the year. And we really liked the confidence that he played with. We liked the poise that he had on the court, and hopefully that's the start of many good games, for him the rest of the year.
You mentioned Javon being out, and it looks like he's going to be out for an extended amount of time.
Yeah, really disappointing. Anytime a player goes down with an injury, you hate to see it. And then when it's a season-ending injury, you hate it even more. And, unfortunately, he's going to have season-ending surgery. And, it's a great opportunity for other guys to step up. Are we going to miss him? Absolutely. He's a preseason player of the year. But right now we can't go back and redo that. And so it's a tremendous opportunity for Chance McMillan, for Josh Baker, for Kobe Knox, for Walter Ellis, for guys to fill those minutes and help us try to win games.
And those guys have stepped up. You've given those guys some minutes. Kobe Knox has gotten minutes, and Chance has obviously stepped into a starting role in the past as well. You're seeing Noah Bauman, as you mentioned, step up a little bit as well. How about the freshman that you took off a red shirt, and Isaiah Carr? Is he still trying to get his rhythm and feel for the game?
Definitely. He's 18 years old, and what I love is he's just an open book. Every possession he's learning, and you look out there and you'll see him make a tremendous block, and then in the next play you'll see him make a freshman mistake, and unfortunately, you get the good and the bad. When they're young, it's great because they learn, but the bad is, as they're learning, sometimes there's not great results. But we've been very pleased with him, and if you go back 3 weeks ago and you look at how our lineup was to how it is right now, with Ivan being out, Javon being out, it's definitely a different mix, and I thought our guys have really responded well so far.
Coming up, we take a stroll around campus with the team's leading scorer, Ray Harrison.
The pulse, the beat, the vibe. You have a place to turn it on. Talking Stick Resort.
Sunrise, waking up lonely, big sky. Where am I going? I don't know.
This is gonna be tough. I mean, that's a bag full of Whataburger's Buffalo Ranch chicken strip sandwiches with tangy buffalo sauce and creamy buttermilk ranch, melty Monterey Jack cheese, and 3 crunchy chicken strips. How long will you have to wait before you enjoy yours? Oh, about that long. Whataburger's Buffalo Ranch chicken strip sandwich is back for a limited time. Just like you like it.
Center Court with the Lopes is presented by Talking Stick Resort and by Cox Business.
Welcome back to Center Court with the Lopes, Barry and head coach Bryce Drew. And coach, what can you say about your sophomore transfer, Ray Harrison?
Ray's been fantastic. We always knew he could score the basketball, but what we've been really pleased with the last few weeks is his defense, how much better it's getting, his leadership, and then his determination is rubbing off onto our other players. And so, he's becoming a leader in our program, and it's really fun to watch.
Well, Lopes insider Paul Corral finds out more from the Lopes leading scorer, Ray Harrison.
A 6'4" sophomore from Greenville, South Carolina, number 0, Ray Harrison.
So here we are in Sunsplash, Phoenix. Hard not to enjoy this, but home is Greenville, South Carolina, between Atlanta and Charlotte. How's that process been for you to be 2,000 miles away from home?
It's definitely taken me some time to get used to and, get acclimated and get comfortable. But, I'm loving it out here. I'm loving the journey.
When you committed back then, you thought you might be a West Coast guy at heart. Has that proven to be true?
I think so, honestly. I really do. I feel like I have some qualities that kind of align with some of the people out here, but I feel like I can fit in both East Coast, West Coast. It don't really matter.
Your dad had a great line during recruiting. I don't know about you, but I'm coming here. Yeah. So you're real close with him. You call him your twin and everything. How much did that impact you that he felt that way about it?
That put the stamp on it for me. As soon as I knew that he was all in, it reassured me,
He's made a lot of sacrifices in his life for you. How deep is that relationship and what he's done?
Man, ever since I was a kid, my dad, he basically did everything for me. There was never a time where I felt like I was going without, so big shout out to him. He, like I said, ever since I was a kid, he's been there with me for everything.
You spent all summer here working out with the look that you've had for 2 years, big hair, long hair.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden in August, one day when school's about to start, real practices,
just
all gone. But it wasn't like Samson, you still got your strength.
Right.
What was that? Did you just want to have a clean slate here?
Honestly, I just wanted to do something different, but I feel lighter. It wasn't something that I felt like I needed to do. It was just, like I said, I just wanted to change.
After a few games here, you had sort of a internal epiphany about your approach. What did you realize that you needed to do for yourself as much as the team?
Coming into the season, I had really high expectations, and I feel like having those expectations it had my mind kind of clustered. It had it, focused on things that weren't as important. So I kind of just had to, recenter myself and just refocus on the things that, make me who I am. And it allowed me to, just be free and play the way that everybody knows that I can play. We got a really good team, so every game we prepare for, every game we go into, I expect us to win.
Beyond Havocs and chasing championships here, faith was a big part of what drew you here. Now that you've been a part of it and see really how much Bryce Drew and the coaching staff incorporate that into everything, is it even more than what you expected about the impact on the program?
I wouldn't say it's more than I expected. It's just, it feels good knowing that, I'm able to grow in that area as well here, because they take it as serious as they said they would when they were recruiting me. So to see them stand on what they told me in the beginning, it's a good feeling.
Where do you see your game growing from here in the years to come?
Even now, I feel like I'm one of the better guards in college basketball, so I want to get to the point to where there's no discussion. He is who he said he is.
Coming up, women's hoops pulls out a thrilling win over the conference leader. Head coach Molly Miller joins the show next.
16, they'll take a look at that. You will never see anything else like this in the world of golf.
Sunrise, waking up lonely, big sky. Where am I going? I don't know. You take me for what I am, love pure and simple. In this wild life, I've been living in a million pieces. You are the best part. In this wild life, I've been living in a million pieces.
This is Sanderson Ford Country.
All roads lead to Sanderson Ford for sales, service, and satisfaction. Follow the road for award-winning service. They have 2 large service centers with Ford-certified master technicians, the state's largest parts department, a body shop, quick lane service center, the customs shop, an on-site Starliner diner for a quick bite while you wait. All roads lead to Sanderson Ford for sales, service, and satisfaction.
We take a look at the women's hoops upcoming schedule, brought to you by Cox Business. The Lopes travel to the Lone Star State for a 2-game swing. First to UT Arlington on Thursday. Then on Saturday, it's off to Edinburgh against UT RGV. They return home Thursday the 19th to take on New Mexico State. You can live stream these games on the ESPN Plus app.
Welcome back to Center Court with the Lopes, presented by Talking Stick Resort. Barry Butel now joined by the head coach for GCU women's basketball, Molly Miller. And coach, are 11-4, 3-1 in the conference. Give us a bit of a status update right now. How you feeling about your team?
I hope we're catching our stride a little bit. This was a team who integrated mostly new faces at the beginning of the year, so I think we're starting to figure out what each other does well, how to set up our teammates, how to play off our teammates. Some of those strengths are being highlighted now, and I think when you're talking about chemistry and momentum, you want to start this time of year. So I'm hoping some of this success we can build on, but also not be satisfied. And I think we've got a group that's really bought in and tight-knit right now that understands what needs to happen in the future as we move forward. We're kind of in this mode of learning still, but I think it's coming together nicely.
Conference play got underway. A big 10-point win over California Baptist, 70-60 in that game. Nadia Evans on fire, coming off the bench, 25 points. She had been off for a little while, and she seemed like she was kind of anxious to get back at it.
Yeah, and you know, some of these injuries and this adversity that we've had has forced us to play other people and figured out some rotations and lineups. So she was one we were really glad to have back, but even while she was out, some others were able to gain confidence, and she was able to pick up right where she left off, which was definitely a good thing for us. And then obviously not having Sydney, we're trying to figure out how to fill that void. But I think all that eventually will help us down the road, because it's never going to be easy for any team, especially kind of in the dog days of season when there's a lot of aches and pains and bumps and bruises. But we're figuring out how to play together with what we have. And again, even when those kids were out, they were still bought in and they had good leadership. So it's been fun and it's been unique, and you have the highs and lows of season, but when you're going through it together and as a team, I think that bonds us and brings us close.
Yeah, it's great to have that depth. You went into a game against Tarleton, won it 70-51. It was your 50th victory here at GCU, double-digit lead for 3 quarters. Looked like the team was feeling it against Tarleton.
Yeah, and it's nice to be able to kind of share the minutes and spread some things out there. And again, just another opportunity, especially for our young players. We still have a very young bench specifically, but for them to get some minutes and get in the flow and get in a rhythm. And I think, our freshmen, I tell them they're no longer freshmen anymore. It's kind of like midway point. You've got to graduate from that freshman status of not really having a clue what to do out there to now you got to be figuring things out pretty quickly. And a game like Tarleton's a good game for them to get some confidence.
Olivia Lane has come into the lineup off of the bench, and she's hit double-digit scoring throughout this stretch here. She's added a spark.
Yeah, we knew she was a little secret weapon that no one else knew about, and we were just anxious to get her healthy, obviously, and put her back into rotation. There is kind of that return to play protocol, and we're trying to be smart with that, but she's just, every assignment that she gets, she takes it on, and she's been really great. And seeing her have a difference and be a difference maker for us in the game is really positive, and I think moving forward she's going to continue to have a positive impact.
The last game was Saturday afternoon, a rematch of the Western Athletic Conference Championship matchup against Stephen F. Austin. Your team peels off a 74-70 victory. You could tell the team was ready for Stephen F. Austin.
Yeah, they were locked in. It's a fun game. I think those type of games really test your character. I think there was like 10 ties, 12 lead changes, something like that. So sometimes it's going your way, and then other points in the game it's not going your way. And how you react and how you can kind of level out that consistency was a great opportunity to learn in a win, which you always want to do. We're going to watch game film today over that, and there's a lot of things we can still tighten up. But very pleased with the overall effort, the focus, the intensity, and really pleased how we hit free throws down the down the end. That's been a point of emphasis for us.
Definitely went 5 of 6 down the stretch. It was huge, as was Evans Zars. That elusive 6th rebound came a little bit later in the game, but it hit the 1,000 plateau. Remarkable.
Yeah, that's what we said in the locker room. Like 1,000 rebounds? Can you imagine? You only get one at a time. Those points are adding up by 2s and 3s. So she's just a team first type player, and I think that's a team first type of stat. She has a lot of pride, probably even more so in rebounding than any other stat, which helps our team. But she's a hard worker down there, and so I was very happy and pleased that she was able to kind of check that one off and now just play without kind of the weight of, the 1,000 rebounds are right around the corner. But she's a hard worker, and she deserves all those accomplishments and accolades.
Up next, with the new year underway, we take some time to reflect on some of last year's big wins for GCU athletics.
The pulse, the beat, the vibe. You have a place to turn it on. Talking Stick Resort.
This is Sanderson Ford Country.
All roads lead to Sanderson Ford for sales, service, and satisfaction. Follow the road for award-winning service. They have 2 large service centers with Ford-certified master technicians, the state's largest parts department, a body shop, quick lane service center, the customs shop, an on-site Starliner diner for a quick bite while you wait. All roads lead to Sanderson Ford for sales, service, and satisfaction.
take a look at the upcoming schedule brought to you by Cox Business. A few events to look forward to coming up soon. Tennis season is underway. The women host their first home match Sunday against UC San Diego. Monday, it's the men's opener as they welcome in Wichita State. Some big dates to look forward to in February. Softball opens its season on February 17th, and baseball will open up its season on the MLB Network with a pair of games. First against UC San Diego at Salt River Fields, and then at home February 18th against the number 2 team in the country, the Tennessee Volunteers. Coming up, it's our Play of the Week. Plus, we take a deeper dive into GCU athletics with Lopes insider Paul Coro.
16th, they'll take a look at that. You will never see anything else like this in the world of golf.
Sunrise, waking up lonely, big sky. Where am I going? I don't know. You take me for what I am, love pure and simple. In this wild life, I've been living in a million pieces. You are the best part. In this wild life, I've been living in a million pieces.
It's time for the Talking Stick Resort Play of the Week. Play in style.
Johnson, they find Lombard.
Heaves up the 3. Off the mark. Loose ball. Lombard. Jack. It's over. The Lopes win it. The Lopes win it.
Well, a nice come from behind victory. Lopes gutted that thing out in the second.
We take a look at the upcoming schedule brought to you by Cox Business. The Lopes are back home Thursday against UT Arlington at 7. Then they hit the road to California Baptist for one on Saturday, January 14th, before returning home for a pair of home games, starting on the 18th against Utah Tech, followed by Utah Valley on the 21st. All home games can be seen on Fox 10 Extra or streamed on the ESPN Plus live streaming app.
Welcome back to Center Court with the Lopes, presented by Talking Stick Resort. I am pleased to be joined by Lopes insider Paul Coro. And Paul, the men and the women off to a very impressive conference starts. The men 2-1, while the women are 3-1. What are your thoughts about their starts?
Well, you position yourself early for the run later on, and the Lopes start off with that strong non-conference play to position themselves in the seeding system, and now you get to that work where you see how much one conference game can really shift things.
Yeah, the men started with an impressive win against California Baptist. Ray Harrison has been leading the way throughout the last probably 10 games or so. He's hit double-digit scoring. What are your thoughts about this team as they went to Texas and they split 1-1?
Yeah, tough trip, especially given all the circumstances of it, but Ray Harrison asserting himself. We've seen a total mind shift with his game from early in the season when he was trying to blend in. And, when he gets aggressive, he gets guys on his back, he drives, he's a power guy who can draw fouls and pile up points there when the shot's not going. It's a difference maker for the Lopes.
Molly Miller's squad on the women's side looked real sharp. A huge 74-70 win over the defending WAC champion Stephen F. Austin.
Yeah, a landmark win for the program. They were number 46 nationally in the net rating, best win ever for the women's basketball program. And Nadia Evans been such a huge part of that. She came off missing a game and then seemed to make it up for it all in one day, especially with Sydney Palma out after her own knee injury. And Evans has picked it up, and you see where the work in her offseason has come, and now she's one of those leaders that carries the team. At the end of that SFA game, she makes the play that strips the ball that seals the game.
Men's volleyball getting underway, 11th ranked men's squad. They started their season and off to a very impressive start.
Right, super experienced on that team, and Matt Worley's got 2 All-Americans coming back, and Camden Gianni, Christian Jenke, and he sort of says, there's not any more excuses anymore about, finishing games and winning the big ones. They have big aspirations for what they're going to do this year.
Overall, the Lopes hit over 300 in both weekend victories, dropping only 1 set in their first 2 wins of the season. Big news on the baseball front as well. The Desert Invitational, GCU and Greg Wallace in his first year at the helm. Some great teams coming.
Wow, a lot of excitement about this program, coming off of 2 NCAA tournament visits in a row, and you got Jacob Wilson and Homer Bush being talked about as MLB draft prospects. Jacob Wilson, top 5 in the nation on a lot of boards, and now they announced their schedule. You got 7 NCAA tournament teams on the schedule. 6 of them are coming to GCU ballpark, starting with opening weekend. In Tennessee, that was a national #1 seed last year, will be playing at Brazil.
Oh, and by the way, on MLB Network.
Yeah, national exposure on top of the great games with Barry Butel on the call.
Well, I appreciate the shout out there, but this baseball squad is going to be exciting with Jacob Wilson probably going to be the highest draft pick.
Yeah, it's amazing the kind of attention he's got, and both him and Homer Bush had great Cape Cod summers that really but Jacob Wilson also played on the national team, and he's just he led the nation last year in fewest strikeouts per plate appearance, and his plate discipline is unbelievable, solid glove, and the MLB scouts love him. They know he's a guy who can bring it to the next level, and the program's already sent multiple guys to the draft every year, but this is another level.
Well, we look forward to another great season at Brazil Field at GCU Ballpark. But that'll do it for another edition of Center Court with the Lopes. My thanks to Paul Coro, to Molly Miller, Bryce Drew, and to you for tuning in. We hope to see you at GCU Arena.